Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another episode of Battle Bites in World of Tanks, and today we are once again in the Panther 2, the Tier 8 German medium tank, during the on-track event for this branch of the German tech tree, which leads up to the E50M. And this is my third in the trilogy of videos on the Panther 2 that I've put up recently. This will close out the trilogy for the short time. I'm sure another video or two will pop up as I go back to play this tank, but this should wrap it up. And what a way to go out with this little trilogy. This is my last game in the tank before I unlocked the Tier 9 big brother to this tank, the E50, which I have been playing and enjoying so far early on in the grind. And so, this it's also a great way to go out with this series because this battle will showcase a lot of what the Panther 2 can do when you use it to its strengths and the flexibility of the tank. We're going to play a lot of different roles throughout this battle, and the tank will excel at all of them. It's not a perfect tank at any one thing. It's not the best sniper or the best brawler or the most heavily armored or the highest DPM, but it's really good at about everything. It's pretty mobile. It's got a pretty good gun that does some decent alpha damage. It's an 88mm. The alpha damage is around 250, and the reload is just about 6.5 seconds depending on your loadout. The frontal armor on the tank is very good, and you can angle it effectively, so you can put yourself into a lot of positions and still be effective as long as you know how to use your tank in that situation. So early on, what I'm doing here is just trying to provide a little bit of spotting. This is a standard battle on Pacific Coast, and so usually what I'll do is be a little more aggressive and run up to the little wooden shelter just we're looking at it now ahead of me on that hill. But that's a little bit too aggressive. Sometimes you get caught out, you can get spotted. I don't have a fully trained spotting crew on this tank. I have a decent crew with a couple skills, but I would get outspotted by any scouts on the enemy team that are up there. So instead, I'm going to play back a little bit more defensively and still be able to shift to help out. So here I see that we've got a couple of my allies are stalled out, facing off with an M41 Walker Bulldog, the Tier 7 American light tank. So instead, I decide I'm going to go in there and challenge him a little bit. I poke the ridge, put a shot in, and set him on fire. Get a little bit fortunate there, and the Bulldog backs off. So that frees up my allies now to approach this cliff and provide a little bit of supporting fire down into this valley on the northern shore of this map, which is sorely needed because the enemies have pushed aggressively into that position, and they're definitely putting some pressure on our allies, which are defending that location up from the top of the hill in the B2, B3 area. So again, I'm just trying to provide some spotting, light some targets up, and I guess I was a little overly aggressive there. I hung around a little bit too long when I didn't see anything immediately, and I do take a hit. I think it was from the Walker Bulldog because the gun on that tank is pretty low caliber. The damage was not too bad. So here we're aiming in some shots on these tanks across the valley here, and a little bit annoyed that this Ferdinand, I think it was, it's a German tank destroyer, just kind of putzed up in front of me, parked in front of me, and blocked the shots that I had. So that was slightly annoying, but I tried to back off to get some shots around him, and he gets taken out. It really wasn't a good spot for him to be in. He was too far forward. That's why I was back where I was, so the whole of my tank wasn't exposed to those guys, and he decided to put himself in front of me, and he paid the price for it with his tank. So we're down 3-4 here, and now 3-5. Things aren't looking great, but we're still in the fight here. And I'm going to once again shift. So we had a number of allies move to that location that I was trying to snipe in where the Ferdinand got taken out. So those guys have that covered. I'm going to try and provide some help on some of the other flanks. It looks like we have a T-29 pushing aggressively up the hill here towards our base. And thankfully we have the back and the side of his turret. And we can go through there pretty reliably with the standard ammunition on this tank. Again, shooting at the front of a T-29's turret is an exercise in frustration. Even with the premium ammunition, but we could put one through the side without too much trouble. And that was a bit of a poor shot. I had the advantage on the T-29. He wasn't looking at me. I had a little bit of time. This is the shot I should have taken there. I should have taken an extra half a second, aimed down onto the front plate, the upper front plate, because it's almost flat from this angle, because I'm so much higher in elevation than him that those shots will go in almost every time. I do switch to the premium rounds here. This is a bit of an important engagement. And I did bounce that one shot off the T-29. I don't want to bounce a second one. We really need to get rid of this tank because he's pushing aggressively. And now we're down 3-7. Our team is just getting lit up. But the T-29 is taken out by my allies. I had the premium round loaded, so I take a quick snapshot at the enemy. It was either a Panther or a Panther 2 who was on very low health. I take him out, and then there was a bit of a decision to make. I could have rushed down the hill and taken out that enemy that was down there. There was one enemy left. But instead, I decided, you know what, I need to come back and protect the cap. There's a tank in there already. The enemies are pushing aggressively on the base, and if I go down that hill, I may not get up it quick enough to defend the base. So instead, I leave him down there. It's going to take a while for him to climb the hill, and I'm rewarded with, I see a second tank trying to sneak towards our base, put one big hit into him, and my allies took him out. And now here we see the enemy capper. It is an IS-3, a dangerous tank, but thankfully he's on pretty low health. We're able to sneak our first shot in while he's not looking, get behind cover. One of my allies puts in another shot. He should be a one hit. Let's aim in. And yes, we are able to secure that kill for our second of the game. And as we pull back and reload, artillery took a punt at us, but missed. And there we go. In the span of 30-40 seconds, the scores went from 3-7 to 10-8 in our favor. Great turnaround by us, pulling back, defending the base, and also from the rest of our allies. They really held down, bunkered in, hunkered down, however you want to say it, and provided some really good play there to pull this back to an advantageous position. So now we're taking a look at what's going on. We know that there is an enemy down at the front of our base, down at the bottom of this hill, and all of our allies are kind of clustered at the top of the hill here, frontally in one direction facing that tank. So instead I decide, let's use the strengths of the Panther II. I'm pretty mobile. I can run down this hill, get a little wide, and provide some multiple angle fire on the enemy tank that's down here. I think it's going to turn out to be a T-32. Actually, there's two heavy tanks down here, and now I see my Tiger is engaged with this ally, or with this enemy, and I want my Tiger to pull back. I don't want him to die right now. We're up in tanks. I've got full health basically. Let me get in there. Let me take the hit. We want your gun in this fight. We want your tank in this fight. So instead, I'm going to try to rush up. I'm going to try to cut off the shot from the enemy tank into our ally. It's a T-32. We put one in, and we're rushing him, and unfortunately, he ignores me and puts the shot in the Tiger. Now, this was a really bad shot. There you go. You could see I was on the side of the T-32, but not flush up against him, and I aimed towards the back of his tank when I was towards the front, and I just made the angle on his side armor so great that it was pretty much an auto bounce. So that was poor. I should have taken an extra second, either advanced farther down the line of his tank so I had a flush shot into the middle of it, or just turned my turret a little bit more so that I was at a 90-degree angle to his armor, and then it would have gone in without a problem. But we're able to put a couple of shots in. I've got the premium loaded because this is the fight that's going to decide the game. If I'm able to take out this T-32 while remaining in the fight, while not losing one or two more allies, we're going to win. But if I fail at that, we're probably going to lose, or there's a good chance that we'll lose. So I do have a dead driver right now, and there I realized it finally, and I put him back in action. So now I'm much more mobile. Now I see I've got a friendly tank with me. I didn't want to go down there and just throw my tank away, but now that I've got help, I know I can push aggressively. Even if I take one shot, my allies will finish him, but that's not necessary. We put one shot in and remove the enemy T-32 there from the game. So now there's two tanks left. I checked the map to see who they were. It's an artillery, which we can see from the top of the screen here, and the other is a T-28. So know your adversaries here. T-28 is very well armored from the front, a very dangerous gun, but very, very immobile. No turret, slow, not able to traverse very well. So what we do here, the way we could lose is if we pile on from the front of this tank, let him just use his frontal armor against us while his artillery support rains down fire from behind. That's what we need to avoid, right? That's how you lose this match right now, so that's the one thing we don't want to do. So I have the enemy lit up here. I'm hoping my allies could put some shots in, but they don't, so I decide, you know what, again, use the Panther's strengths, I can flank, and so I go to do it, but I did not expect him to sneak a shot into me. I underestimated the gun depression and the gun traverse on the enemy T-32 there, or I'm sorry, the T-28. So he was able to put one into me. Thankfully, I don't think he was using the biggest gun on that tank, or I would have been hurt for quite a bit more of my health. But now we're coming around the flank. I know the artillery's back here somewhere. I could go hunting for him at this point, but I think it's more important that I assist my allies and take out the T-28, because they're facing him from the front, and if I lose both of those, and then I get taken out, well, the artillery could go one-on-one, or the T-28 could go one-on-one if he's still in the fight. So here we go. It works out. We've got the rear of the tank. We're going to put some shots in, and we're going to keep moving, because there it is. There was the shot from the artillery. He did take a punt at us, but because we were moving, we were hard to hit. We set the T-28 on fire. We get the kill, and then we can conceal our turret, and now the artillery has revealed himself. And if any of you know where that shot went, feel free to let me know, because I want a refund. I was fully aimed. He was taking up the entirety of my reticle, and that shot somehow missed. But we reload in time. Again, good reload on this tank. Able to put our last shot in, remove the artillery, and secure a top gun for the tank. and a win for the team. Whew, that was quite a blitz at the end of the game there. So let's catch our breath while we take a quick look at the post-battle results. And we ring up a string of medals, 3,220 damage, just about 250 in assistance. We did block one shot with our armor. Not great performance for the armor there. And we secured 23,000 credits. And that was with firing a good amount of our premium rounds there, which is something I try to avoid. But when it gets tense, when I'm trying to carry, when I'm trying to help the team come from behind in an intense encounter, I will use the premium to give that little bit of an extra edge. So we can see we secured a duelist medal, an arsonist for setting those tanks on fire. I think we had 2 different fires that we set. Sharpshooter, our accuracy was very good this game. Fire for effect, we caused much more damage than the hit points of our vehicle. Bruiser, we did a lot of module and crew damage with all those shots we put in. 15 penetrating hits, good enough for a first class mastery badge. We'll see the base experience points for this battle in a minute. And we can see we have earned our first mark of excellence. And there we go, there's the Top Gun, the impressive medal for 6 kills, and Sniper, once again, the accuracy was very good throughout that game. So we'll take just a quick look now at the detailed tab, the team tab, to see how the rest of the team did. And a shout out to the 2 platoon, Biker Tox and Visual Smooth in the T29 platoon. They both had solid games, did well. Those are very powerful tanks, and I hope they would do well, but it was a Tier 8 match, and they still held their own, including Visual hanging on till the end of the battle to help secure the win by staying alive there. We can see we were top on experience points in the game, top on damage. We did fire 18 shots and 17 of those hit, so only 1 shot completely missed, and that was that shot at the artillery, which I have no idea how that missed, so the accuracy on the gun was great. Penetrations, 15 out of our 17 hits. Once again, good performance. We were top tier, so that's to be expected. If you're bouncing when you're top tier, you're doing something wrong. And all that was on the way to 3,220 damage with another 250 assistance. And the base XP for that game, 1,588. A pretty impressive total. I was feeling during the end of that battle like, oh, if I can carry this, if I can finish it off, it might be an ace tanker. But no, 1,588 was the base XP and not quite enough to get us there. So hopefully that series gave you a good feel for the Panther 2. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please feel free to like, appreciate it. It helps the channel out. Subscribe for future content, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Oh, and if you've hung around for the bonus content, you'll actually get to see me unlock the E50M. Here it was. That was my last battle, as I said. So we'll get to see the E50, not the E50M, the E50, the Tier 9 German medium tank, which we bought at a discount because of the on-track event. So thanks, guys, and E50 content is coming soon. See you next time.